Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Mr. S. I'm a primary school teacher here to help you with some of the tricky things in school. Now this video is part 2. If you haven't already seen part 1, you can find a link to it in the description below. What we're going to be doing is we're going through some of the trickiest questions from this year's 2026 SATS reasoning paper. Now that means we're looking at those last few questions, the ones worth a couple of marks, and stick around at the end for the big question at the end of the SATS reasoning paper that was worth 3 marks this year. So let's get straight into it and look at the first of these last tricky questions. So I've got on the side here my helpful little handy thing: read, underline, choose, solve, answer and check. As you'll know from my other videos, that's my best way to be going through these worded problems. So first off, let's read and underline. So Layla is saving to buy a game. It costs £60. For every £4 that Layla saves, her mum gives her £1. How much must Layla save to reach her target? So effectively here, every time that money is saved, it is 4 plus 1. So every single time, it is £5. Now the first thing I need to do is find out how many times is 5 going to go into 60. So I'm going to do 60 divided by 5, and that leaves me with 12. So every contribution to the little piggy bank, or however it is that she's saving, there are 12 times that a contribution is made. Now remember, of those 12 times, £4 each time is from Layla and £1 is from her mum. So really what I need to do now is I need to do 12 multiplied by the £4 to work out how much money was just from Layla there. So 12 multiplied by 4 gives me 48. So my answer here is £48. Now remember, this is worth 2 marks. Even if you didn't get £48, you might get a mark from somewhere else in here where you've recognised that it's £5 or where you've seen some part of the step. Okay, so let's move on to the next one here. Question 19. Again, I'm going to start by reading and underlining. So here are 5 cards. A and B stand for 2 different whole numbers, and they've got to be whole numbers here. They can't be decimals, okay? The sum, so adding them all up, of all of the cards is 35. Give 1 pair of possible values for A and B. Okay, so firstly we can see that there are 3 cards that are A and 2 cards that are B. Now this is kind of a process of elimination. You just need to have a try with some different numbers to see what would add up to get me to my 35 here. And there are a few ways you could go about that. There are lots of different possible answers for this. So if you don't get the exact 2 answers that I choose, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It means that it could have been made with a different way. I always recommend to start with a times table you feel really confident with. So I'm going to start straight away with 5. So let's give it a try. 5, 5, and 5. What would that give me? That gives me 15. And then whatever is left over from 35 to 15 is 20. Can that be divided by these 2 here? Well, yes, 20 can be divided by 2, giving me 10 and 10. So I could have A as 5 and B as 10. Great. Now let's see if we can find another option here. So I'm just going to get rid of those. We'll have another try with a different number. So how about, what if I did 4, 4, and 4, which gives me 12. What is left over from 35 to 12? It is 23. Can 23 be divided by 2 to give me that whole number that we specified we needed? No, because that's going to give me 11.5, and that is not a whole number. So 4 cannot be one of the ones that works. So I'm going to rub those out. Give it another try here. I'm going to go for another odd number actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try here 7, 7, and 7, which will give me 21. What's left over from 35 to 21 is 14. Splitting that in 2 gives me 7 and 7. Although those are whole numbers, it specifies here different whole numbers. So that one's not going to work either. So let's get rid of those and we'll try another one. It's just a case of trying to see which ones will work in this situation. I'm going to try 11, 11, and 11, which gives me 33. Left over is 2. 2 can be divided by 2 with 1 and 1. Okay, so A could be 11 and B could be 1. Now, as I said before, you may have had different answers to that, and that's absolutely fine. You could have also had A being 1 and B being 16. You could have had A being 3 and B being 13. You could have also had A being 9 and B being 4. Those are all possible answers that would have been accepted. So let's now scroll down and move on to the next question. Question 20 over here. It is worth 2 separate marks, one for finding A and one for finding B. Now, starting by reading my question and underlining, the triangle in this diagram is isosceles. So that is an important piece of information, so make sure you know your triangles. What are the sizes of angles A and B? Okay, now I know up here that this is 90 degrees. That symbol always tells me that that is 90 degrees. It is a right angle. Okay, now I know that within a triangle, it always equals 180 degrees, okay? So knowing that that all equals 180 degrees is also a key piece of information. As I mentioned before, knowing that it's an isosceles tells me a key piece of information that these two lines, these two sides are equal. So A and this one here, let's call it X, is the same. They are worth the same amount, okay? So 180 is the total. I'm going to minus the 90 that I've already got, which leaves me with 90 degrees. So A plus X here equals 90 degrees. So basically 90 divided by these two here is each of their size. So that is 45 degrees. Now moving on to finding B here, I know that angles on a straight line equal 180 as well. So really what I'm doing on my 180, excuse my drawing here, not the most beautiful or precise. So 180 minus that X there that we found earlier. So 180 minus 45 is going to give me that mystery piece there of B. So 180 minus 45 leaves me with 135 degrees. So we've got 135 degrees, and that was worth 1 mark for each of those. Now moving on to the final question in this test, which was a big one here. It's worth 3 marks down here. So there is a good opportunity here to be getting 1, maybe 2, or hopefully all 3 marks. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be getting the answer correct, but possibly you're finding step 1 and step 2, which will mean that you get 2 out of 3, which is already a good amount, especially at the end of the test where maybe you're running out of time, or maybe you're just giving this a bit of a go. It might be a little bit tricky, and that's absolutely fine. So let's go through the question together. The diagram shows a triangle inside a rectangle here. What is the area of the shaded section? So we're only finding the area of this part here. That means we need to find the area, I'm now choosing, of the whole rectangle, and then minusing the triangle. We need to cut that piece out of it. Okay, so let's go through this. Now, finding the area of a shape, I just want to make this a little bit bigger for me. We need to do the length multiplied by the width here. Okay, so I'm going to have 38 multiplied by 27. If you find long multiplication difficult, then check out my channel. I've got a video explicitly explaining how to do long multiplication. So starting off, I've got 8 multiplied by 7, which is 56, and then 3 multiplied by 7, giving me 21. Add the 5, gives me 26. Now moving down to the next row here, I'm multiplying by 2, but it's not just 2, is it? It's actually 20, so I'm going to put the 0 to start. 8 multiplied by 2 gives me 16. 1 up here, 6 down here. 3 multiplied by 2 gives me 6. Add the 1 gives me 7. Now I'm going to add these two together. 6 plus 0 gives me 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 2 plus 7 is 9, plus the 1 gives me 10. So I've got 1026 centimeters squared. That's the area of the whole rectangle here, all of it. Now I need to take away the triangle in the middle, okay? So to do that first, I'm going to calculate the area of the imaginary rectangle here, which is 13 multiplied by 8. So I've got 3 multiplied by 8 being 24. 1 multiplied by 8 is 8, plus the 2 gives me 10. Now, as we said before, that here is the area of this whole rectangle, but I only need half of it. So what I now need to do is I need to divide my 104 by 2 in order to split it in half. So that's going to leave me with 52. If you need to work it out individually going through the bus stop, then please do that. I just know that half of 104 is 52, half of 100 is 50, half of 4 is 2. Okay, so what I now need to recognize here is that 52 is the area of my little triangle. That is the area of the hole that we are removing from the whole rectangle. So the last step here, I've run out of space, but I'm going to keep using the side of the page. I'm going to do 1026 minus 52. Okay, so 6 minus 2 leaves me with 4. 2 minus 5 can't be done. I'm going to take it from here. Gives me 10. Take it away, 9. Gives him 12. Okay, so 12, take away 5 is 7. 9, take away nothing is 9. 0 leaves me with 0. So the total area at the end is 974 centimeters squared. And that would get me a great whopping 3 marks. Now, you would get 1 mark for having a step done, for recognizing what you need to do first. You'd probably get 2 marks for step 1 and step 2. And if you get 3 marks, then that'll be for having your answer. Even if you got all the way through to the end and you've done just a single calculation error, maybe where you've subtracted here, you've ended up making a small mistake and you've got 984, let's say, then you'd still end up getting 2 marks in here just for having 1 calculation error. And that's worth quite a lot. Now, as I said, if you haven't already seen part 1 of this video, then please check it out in the link below. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it has, then please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have loads more videos coming. There's also loads of maths and English support on my channel as well. Thanks, and see you next time.